Well, good morning to all of you, and does this not feel good? Closer and closer to some regular attendance and things, so as we move along together, and it's great that all of you are here. And again, all who continue to join us virtually and probably will, we're glad to have you along as well. We've opened up a whole new church, it seems, across the United States, and we're glad you're with us this morning. And again, happy Mother's Day to all of you. I hope you find a way to celebrate this day, literally, wherever you are, however you are, to find a way to celebrate Mother's Day. It's a great day for us to stop and pause and reflect. And at St. John's, we do that. We try to embrace what's going on in culture, what's around us. So we talk about it, and that's what I want to do with you today. And I appreciate all of you who sent responses to me. It was fun. We've had a really fun time, and I really mean it that way, really light, really insightful, asking you, what do you think, rather than starting with what we think. Well, this week I didn't quite do that, but lots of you sent me ideas. You sent me pictures. You sent me stories about your moms. I just loved it. It was great. And Georgiana Vines gets a special shout out because she actually did what I told her to do. She was sitting at lunch and picked up her napkin and said, "Don't forget to take your picture of your mother to church and put it on her mirror." So I was proud of her for that. So anyway, so I asked you to get a picture of your mother. And I know that most of you didn't do it because that's just how you are, so shame on you. I'm serious. I mean, did you think I thought you were really going to do that? Come on. I really did, though, think I planted an idea because a lot of you said, you know, I actually did go find a picture of my mom. And I don't know if you have it with you now, but I know we're in lots of different places, aren't we? Some of us are still in an engaging relationship with our mother, who's very much part of our lives, our family lives. Some of us are old people like me, and my mom's been dead a while. But I still have that relationship. We all have a relationship. But do you know why I wanted you to get a picture? Because I wanted you to do something both tangible but a bit symbolic. We move so fast in life that we don't slow down all the time. And I wanted to invite you to really slow down and take a look at a picture and think about that person who is your mother. And mother comes in lots of shapes and sizes, obviously, but also different kinds, right? Lots of you have mothers that are, I don't think they're atypical, they're just a different kind of mother. Some of you have had several mothers. That's how it works. But I don't know what you did. I realized that as I did that, had that picture of my mom and carried it around, and Jerry Askew was telling me he had a picture of his mom on his desk all week. I said, what did it do? Well, he started talking. Well, see, it did something for me. So the exercise really opened my mind because I really started thinking about her. I was literally, and I wanted you to do this, carry your mother with you. Because truly, your mother is always with you. Always was and always will be. So you see, a bit of a symbolic act to recognize something that's actually very true. We are inexplicably bound to our mothers. Inextricably bound to our mothers for all of time. We're connected biologically for those first few months, right? Those first 9 or 10, however long it takes. But then that next journey begins. And that's the journey that often is the hook. That's the one that gets us. That's the one that creates so much energy and so much tension for all of us. Because, see, we're building and sustaining and renewing a relationship. Mother and child. And that relationship never ends. And if you picked up a mother along the way and you were older, you're still doing that. It's still the same. That relationship buries deep inside of us. And I promise you, I'm old enough to tell you, my mom's dead. She's still part of my life. She's not gone. So what about the picture you have? Because this is the picture I found, and it's my favorite. It hangs in one of my hallways. And Lois and I have some pictures going down the stairwell. And I think she does this, but I never fail, almost every day, to look at who came before us as we go out for our day. So it's our parents and grandparents' pictures down to our cars. Well, this is a picture of my mom and dad. You can't see it, but I'll describe it to you. This is pre-World War II. They were very young. Pretty good-looking couple, I think. But I think about them, and the more I looked, I realized I was really thinking about my mom and my dad. One thing I'd never noticed about this picture, my father does not look happy. I kind of, you know what? I don't know if he liked taking pictures. I'm serious. I went, holy smokes, I never thought about that. Because he has that same look in lots of our pictures. He doesn't look happy taking pictures. My mom, though, has his little smile. And I think she knows he doesn't like taking pictures. I kind of like that, too. But there they are, pre-World War II. They knew each other 3 weeks and got married and stayed married for 50 years. You know why? Because Daddy thought he was going off to Europe. That didn't happen. But Mom and Dad ran the post exchange at Fort Leonard Wood, the largest Army base in the United States at the time. It was the transit place for all Army troops going to Europe and then going to Asia. And they served there for 5 years. They served the government doing that job. I've always been proud of that for them and for us. But I look at her now and I see her and she's dressed up in the style of her time, form-fitting clothes, high heels, a lot of red lipstick, her hair kind of poofed up. It's just fabulous. But the more I looked at it, it got me to slow down. And I realized, who is she? Who is this young woman? Think about your picture. Who is that person? She's dressed up and all of that, but who is she beneath all of that? The person I call Mom, what were her interests? What were her dreams and aspirations and hopes? What were the things that dashed those aspirations and hopes? What were the goals that she had set for her life? What did she really want to be? Yeah, she wanted to be a mom, but I wonder what else. What more did she have? What were her fears? What were her favorite things to do? It may sound silly, but you know, moms are people. I'm going to say that so it sinks in. You see, because we have this often romanticized notion of that person who's our mother. Everybody does that to some degree. You see, moms aren't just the role, are they? They're a role, but they're not just that role. Moms have a function, they are not just that function. You see, they're much more. But I don't know about you, all the expectations I had as a child, because you see, most of us are terribly dependent on that woman. That's how it works. So my life, my very life, was dependent on her. How could we not project something into that? How do we all not do that? Of course we do that. She could never live up to the expectations I'd set, but I didn't know that until I grew older. My own parenting and other things taught me that. But you know, with all the moving parts of a relationship with our moms, the truth of it is, most moms are doing their best, trying their best, and giving their best all the time. But relationships are not easy. That just goes with it. And again, I was going to say it again, moms come in all sizes and types. You've had mothers that were not your biological mother. I have. My sister was so much older than I, she was my mother sometimes. It's the truth. That's how families function. I want to celebrate every bit of that. I want to encourage you to celebrate every bit of that as well, because that's something rich and deep. And you know what? It will take each of you in the place it should take you. I don't have a destination for you today other than to kind of relish in those thoughts, those memories, those reflections. I promise you, you will grow from them. And I don't care. Grounded in humanity. You want to feel good about the world, about good, essential people, living good lives, doing the best they can, trying the best they can. Pick up and start listening to StoryCorps. You can find it and you Google it. So people just talk. They just tell their stories. And so I'm going to try this with you because they did a whole week of mother stories. And here's the exchange, okay? It's with Jade. Jade is her name. She's a young woman. She grew up in foster care in Philadelphia. When she was a teenager, her life became very stable after painfully a very tumultuous childhood, probably more than we want to talk about. But she finally found a family and a foster mother, and things were so great, and then her foster mother died. And you know what happened? They moved her. I mean, all of a sudden she's with her mother and a family, and she gets moved. And she's placed in Stacy Parker's home. Now, this was 5 years ago. So now they're reflecting of being together for 5 years. Jade says, well, Mom, she calls her mom now, nobody asked me how I was feeling. They didn't care. They just, I guess, felt like it didn't matter. Whether they moved me, kept me, whatever. When I was doing bad in school or bad in life, you know what I did? I kept it to myself. Mom, Stacy now, says gently to her, I know. She said, you know, Jade, when you came to my house was totally different. It was totally different. I knew you were quiet. I knew that because you were quiet and you're petite, and I knew that people didn't pay attention to you. In fact, when I would ask you questions, all you would say is, Not mean. You just didn't have anything to say. You didn't have any requests. You didn't have any complaints. You didn't tell me what food you liked. You didn't even have specific foods that you do like. And I knew that was unusual. Not good, unusual. Do you remember the day that you came after a few months and what you said to me? And Jade in the background laughs. She said, you said, I don't want to live here anymore. I don't know why I'm here. You said to me, you make my life impossible. What are you trying to do to me? You said, there's no way I'm going to learn to make my bed. There's no way I'm going to learn to clean. And there's no way I'm going to learn to be on time. You're wasting your time. I don't want to live here anymore. She goes on. But you know, Jade, I wanted you to be more. I knew you were more. I knew you were mad when I made you take violin. But I made you anyway. Because as an African-American female, society was going to marginalize you. And I was trying to develop your life. I was trying to give you a voice. The daughter says, you know what? You also asked me questions nobody asked me, like, how are you doing in class? Or when I was failing or having trouble, you'd say, now, how are we going to fix that? Or I had a fight with a friend. How can we fix this? How can we address this? She said, I never had anybody say we. It's always, how are you going to get your life together? How are you going to fix yourself? She said, you taught me that. It was we. She said, Mom, what did I teach you? She said, you taught me the power of love. You helped me to see that I really could, if I looked, to see what you needed. And maybe I couldn't do it, but I could help you get what you needed. And then her daughter says, Jade says, I'm so glad. I want to thank you for everything, because if you would not have pushed me, I don't think I'd be the young woman I am today. I don't know where I would be right now. I've been searching for Mom all my life. Then I got you. And we've been through, and they both started laughing. And Mama Stacy says, well, let's just call it bumpy. And then she says, Jade, I will always be there. And she says, Mom, I know you will. You will always be there for me. You get that? It's biology, maybe. But it's much deeper, isn't it? See, that's what moms do. All kind of moms. They not only show up, they hang in for the long haul. Moms are always with us. Moms help us do some particular things, don't they? They help us find ourselves. We learn who we are. They give us intrinsic value. They remind us that we are special just the way we are. And by the way, everybody's special. Each of you is special. You're just not more special than the people beside you. But everybody's special. But moms, when they get it right, they really instill that in their children. And yes, they remind them every once in a while there's a little work to do. And that may not be easy. But I promise you, without the work, we don't thrive. If we don't strive, we don't thrive. Because you cannot grow and mature without some struggle. It's impossible. If moms hold our feet to that fire, thank God for it. You know, relationships don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be without difficulties to be absolutely magical and close and loving. They don't. Moms teach us that too. And I think good moms know that. They walk that journey. You see, loving's not easy. It's simple sometimes, but it's complex. Ultimately, moms teach us to love in some deep, deep, deep way. Jerry asked you this morning after the sermon, said the best thing. He said, you know what I was thinking of? I always say, no, what? He said, man, it's like the scripture. Moms abide in us, and we abide in them. He's right. I'm going to leave you with one of the smartest humans that's ever lived. It's a very small quote. I hate to read, but I'm going to read this to you. It's very short. It's from Carl Jung, the great psychiatrist. And man, does he hit it here in a very few words. Mother love is the most moving and unforgettable memory of our lives. It is the mysterious root of all growth and change. It is the love that means homecoming, shelter, and from which everything begins and everything ends. Well, we're not to the ending part yet, you and I, this morning. We're on the journey. And I hope you capture a bit of that today. Take a look at that picture. Who was that person? Because somewhere in your heart and in your life, they have given you all of those things. The love, the homecoming, the shelter. May not have been easy. But who was that person that gave it to you? Give some gratitude about that. It'd be good for all of us to do. Amen.